Welcome back to Granja Caimito in the Pedroche Valley of Andalusia, Spain. This afternoon I had to go to the village, and on my way out along the about 2 kilometers long dirt road I spotted this group, and it's a large group, of pigs. They are brought here to take advantage of the acorns. They basically have already slaughter weight, and it's about to let them eat a little bit of the acorns, so that at the very end they have been fattened by acorns. I don't know the owner of these pigs, but I think these images are quite interesting. So enjoy. The shaking is because they are rubbing themselves on the car. It's very typical. Whenever there is something new, they start to rub on it. Those are not our pigs, obviously. This is at the neighbor's place, the guy with the tractor, and he brought a new batch of pigs in here. And as you can see, that's a lot. And there in the distance, there's more. So I would easily think that's 200 pigs. And as you can see, they have 3 earmarks, so that means they have changed location 3 times. And there's one that has a few more. See? 4 of them. The rule is, for every owner there is 1 earmark, and whenever they get sold, the new owner has to put a new earmark on. It appears that we have received quite a bit of rain last night. Let's see how the seasonal creek looks like this morning. That was not enough still. This used to be full the last time it rained quite a bit, but this time, no, that wasn't enough. We have standing water here at the fort, and of course we have standing water there in those little sediment traps. So let me show you them one more time. They showed up in previous videos, but let me show. So here is one, and the way it works is the water comes from over there at some speed, but of course because of the ford it won't come at a very high speed, but at least it comes from there. And then sediments get trapped here because the water will stand still until it overflows, and then it overflows this one here, and there is another sediment trap over here just a few meters further down. So the distance might be, well, let me lie, less than 10 meters. And after this trap it then finds its way to this place. This is a little bit higher than the rest of the creek, so if you compare, so there is the second sediment trap, and then this is a little bit higher. Of course it's now pretty much in the shade, but you can still see it, I guess. And then the water finds its way into the big pond, which is filling up a little bit more, but we are still far away from overflowing. So if I zoom in there, you will see how much is still missing. So there you can clearly see that we are still missing a good portion of water level. We have gotten less rain than we used to get. And if I pan to the left, that is an area where the animals have not yet been. And this will come next. And if I now go further to the left here and zoom in a little bit, you can see that under the trees things are looking great. But of course we want the overall area here to look the same way. But we're getting there. With enough moisture and enough nutrients in the form of manure and all that, this will improve. And let me highlight one thing. This little hump here, where the tall forage is, there the animals used to poop, and therefore it grows a lot better. And I also see some fresh anthills there. It takes some time, but we're getting there. And I have to say, our neighbor with the tractor down there, I think I mentioned this in earlier clips, he has done a lot of work in order to establish new pasture. And the first year it looked great, very, very great. And now it doesn't look that great anymore. And I have a feeling that we are getting at the same point without having a tractor till the field and seed and all that. And my feeling is that eventually he can surpass what he has established by using the machines, because we are adding nutrients every year while he is taking out. So if you put this in terms of a bank account, he is doing some investments and taking out loans while we are putting back. So eventually he goes bankrupt, so to say, while we break even. Of course, I'm not saying this to wish anyone bad luck, but I guess that's a good analogy to make regarding regenerative agriculture versus other types of agriculture, where it's more about reaping benefits instead of keeping a system going. So I'm pretty happy with what we do. We'll be getting there. And important is to have some patience. And whenever you want to restore something that is damaged, you have to have patience. So I'm happy that we can do this. And speaking about patience, this here definitely seems to be paying off. The cows have been here yesterday and overnight. They got moved this morning. This is A17. And you see a lot of manure here. And if I zoom in, you see a few more details. So there's a lot of manure. And the brown spots, that is Cynodon, Bermuda grass in English. That is the summer forage. And now as we are in winter, this is dormant. But the other stuff is growing. And apparently they had enough food here for the whole afternoon and early morning. And they manured. So all that manure that we see here came either directly here from this very same field, or it came from A5, A4, further down, further south, towards the outflow of the water reservoir, where they had been in the morning. So this is a great addition in the form of nutrients here, and I think that will pay off. And we will see how this Bermuda grass will look like when in a few months the temperatures are again in the 35 centigrades range. And it will be by the end of May when suddenly the heat kicks in. And then I expect all the brown stuff to be green. And probably we will have a lot more green in here this time than we had last time. So basically now there is a tradition to film A17 at the height of summer to see. So there are already 2 videos out about that, and this time there will be another one. It will be very interesting. And you may notice that lately you can hear a lot more birds. I was not able to show you the birds, all those magpies, because when I see a group, then I don't have the camera with me, but there is a lot of them. This is no replacement for the chicken project, but they are here and they are scratching and they are going through the manure. So this is also something that helps. I hope the microphone picked this up well. Someone recently made a comment suggesting that we should better dig a lot more swales, ponds and all that. So yes, that is a great idea and thank you for the suggestion. But let me answer to this a little bit in more detail by showing you how things look like at the moment. So here I'm in the middle of our land, and that is where the seasonal creek flows through. When there is enough water on other people's land, meaning up there, that it flows down to us, and then it will fill the pond that is at the end of this. Yeah, the pond is over there. So this is basically the only area here where there is some slope where water can flow. So there ahead, if I zoom in a little bit, there is some slope, but it's very, very short, and the elevation difference isn't that big. So this water, if it happens to flow down, it will end up in that seasonal creek. And of course our plan is to have vetiver left and right of this, and also of this here. And then we have enough of vetiver that we can plant in other areas. And we want to plant vetiver instead of digging, because every time we dig, all we do is we run the risk of damaging roots of the oak trees, and in the area we might want to have more of those water retention features. There are more roots because there are more oak trees and they are denser than in our zone A, so that's not really a very good option. And instead of digging, we want to build up, and we want to build up by using vetiver as a way to hold on to sediment if there is anything flowing down. But let me stick for the moment to our zone A, and I will continue this when I get to zone C. So here in our zone A, if I zoom out and pan around, you can see this is pretty much flat. So here I'm kind of at the lowest point, because that is where the seasonal creek flows through, and up there, that's maybe a meter higher, that is then the highest elevation we have here. And I will go there and show you the rest. So this here is the 1 meter higher elevation. The pond, the big one, is down there. And let me pan to the left, there where the animals are walking. You see, this is all flat. So there isn't really any opportunity to make ponds and swales, because it already is on a flat surface, and whatever rains is supposed to infiltrate the soil if the soil is able to soak up water, and that is what we are working on with the animals. We do have another little pond. You can't see it from here, but I can point you in a direction. So somewhere there is what we call A9, and I will take you there now. There we have a little pond, and you will see why. I just came from over there. In the distance you might spot the animals. They haven't moved. They find forage along the animal lane. And if I pan further to the left, you will then see there some earthworks. So that is the berm of the pond. And I will now go there, but before I do, let me show you the surroundings. So further to the left, we have our paddock A7, and as you can see, it is flat. So this up there, this is the only elevation that we have. It's like a little hill, and that is why we have the pond up there. It was for the pigs, and I mentioned that already a few times in other videos. On its berm we will plant vetiver, and later on some trees and shrubs, and the pond is there to hydrate the area below. So all the stuff here to the left, and also a little bit to the other side. So I will now go in here and show you how it looks like from above. This is I would say 2.5 meters higher, the berm, than the location where I'm at. So now I'm approaching this pond. I can show you a little bit how it looks like. This is A9 where I'm. I have to walk slow so that it doesn't shake that much. So let's speed up a little bit. So here we are. So this is that little pond, and here we have our berm, and now you can see from above how it looks all around. So this down there is A7, and there where you can see the Jeep, This is where I just came from. And I pan further to the left. You see more of A9. And these boys and girls apparently are on their way back to A1, which is the paddock that has the outflow of the water reservoir in it. So we have this here, and it will get some love, but right now definitely is not the time to dig here, because the soil is so soft, especially our backhoe, which is on wheels instead of on tracks, will just get stuck. So there's no point in bringing the machine here. This is something you better do in summer here in this region, when you can move and dig where you want. The machine has enough power. Doesn't matter that the soil might be hard as concrete. The machine can manage, but right now all you're asking for is trouble. So if we want to dig anything more, we have to wait for summer. And even the professionals with the big excavators, they don't really like to work at this time of year because of that problem. I have now moved further ahead our driveway, and I'm in front of A5 to give you more detail. So I came from there, and I will now go into A5 and show you what is up there behind that patch of vetiver. So I'm almost there, but I wanted to show you here to the left. This is where the cows have been this week. So they have grazed it off, and now we will have to wait some 30-40 days depending on the temperatures. So here's the patch of vetiver. That is the vetiver that we will transplant. So we decided to remove it completely and plant it in little slips at the other locations that I mentioned before. And behind it there is also a hole in the ground. It's not a pond, it was dug for the pigs. So there you have it. I will go in by stepping in here and show you how it looks from the other side. I just came from there, and here is that hole. This is not supposed to be a pond. It is a wallow for the pigs, and you can see that there's a hose. In case we want to fill it up, we can. It was important during summer for the pigs. And this whole area has seen pigs a few times, and they destroyed it completely each time. And look, it comes back all the time. And the cows have also been in here grazing several times. So that is working out well. So as you can see, we have a flat terrain here, and there are only two little hills, we can call this. And we have dug a hole in each one so that we have some water retention and infiltration. But as you can see, the rain wasn't enough to really fill this up. And I just remember one thing. When we dug this and we filled it up during summer by using the water from the outflow of the water reservoir, we probably put in here, let me lie, easily 10,000 liters. And it quickly disappeared because the ground is full of sand and nothing was able to hold on to it. Of course, somewhere there is clay, but it's further down. So initially we were not able to fill this up. Now the pigs have been here a few times, and probably by now it is a little bit more sealed off at the bottom, and it would now hold water. But as you can see, the rain did not leave any mark here. Of course it is moist because there's something growing in here. Guess now you can see it a bit better. There. But this is not a pond or any other thing that will hold the water for long, but I would think that it does have a positive effect. But on the other hand, if I go back to the vetiver here, this does not really survive well in summer, or well, it survives because it's still there and that is what vetiver can do, but it does not really produce a lot of forage, meaning long leaves, over summer. Also, it is a heat-loving plant because it requires irrigation. So that is why we decided to remove it and use it elsewhere where there is more moisture available in the ground. So you can say that this is a slightly failed experiment to establish the vetiver here. But I don't mind. It has fulfilled its purpose. We have multiplied it, and so we have enough vetiver to plant elsewhere. And that is what we are going to do when spring comes around. Now I'm here at the very beginning of our piece of land. You are looking at paddock A3 in the background, and what is A2 here in the foreground. And what you also see is the very first swale that we ever dug here. I did this before knowing how things work, and I used the backhoe for that. It took at least a week, and it's not really that much. And the idea was to keep the water from flowing down this light slope. So from there to in here, and it stays there. And it seems to have some positive effect on the below the swale area, which is this. But then that's about it. So there is no more opportunity to do some earthworks, except we also have this little thingy here. Nothing decided to grow just yet. This is basically there in an attempt to cut off the old road, because there we had a stream when it was heavily raining, and now we don't. But as you can see, lack of nutrients. This area still needs a lot of additional manure and biomass in order to really green up. It is coming along, it is much better than before. And what I can see there, actually let me show you this one here. So here you see a yellow flower, the mustard. And before all these things that we did here, this place was full of it. Almost bare soil and a lot of those mustards. And see, there are a few, but this is nothing in comparison to what we had in the years before. So it is working. But as this video is about water retention and where can we dig and make ponds and all that, so let's not go too far away from the topic. So as you can see, there we have it. And further down, there is no opportunity to do the same, because the terrain slopes up a little bit and then it goes down, and then we are in the overflow area, which is our paddock A1. I will show you that because the cows are there. Just a second. Actually, I forgot about this one here. This is another one that I dug at the same time, like the one up there. It is also to cut off the water flow in the former road. You can still see remnants of that road here, there where the shadows are. It went straight ahead, so up to there, because the former owner liked to drive in the center like the others before him, and we put the driveway to the far edge of this along the perimeter fence. Makes more sense to me. And so this here is the other water retention feeder that we have. And this never fills up. It does hold moisture, but we never see it like a full swale. And now the rain from the night did fill up this little thing here, but this is mostly because it's like a pothole. So this fills up and then will dry out. Something is trying to come up, but it's very, very small, so it's maybe 1.5 meter in size, so it doesn't really count. And after all, this area in the future might become a place to park a car when there are some visitors, so that they don't drive all around in their own vehicle, because down there, let me move over there and zoom in, you can probably see it in the distance. So down there is the gate. This is our main entrance. And now I go here a little bit to the right. This is what we call A1. We do have some signs also. So here you see it. And that is where the cows are currently. And they have almost eaten up. And tomorrow they will get access to another place. And you can also see there in the distance, the neighbor has some 200 pigs there. So rough estimate, just by looking at the amount. You don't see the 200 here, but they are spread out in several groups. But I would think that this is 200. And they are roaming the place. They basically eat up the old acorns that the other group that was here before has left. And then of course they will be fed with some ground feed. But right now they are more about sleeping, because there you can see a pile of pigs. So that is what in Spanish is called cebo de campo, which means fattening on a rural farm. So they let them roam freely. They can eat whatever they find, and on top of that they get some processed feed in order to be fed, and then they go off to a slaughterhouse. So that is the second grade ham. The prime grade is the one where it says de bellota, which means acorn. Okay, but I'm drifting off topic. So this is A1, and there we also did some tiny little earthworks. You can see here there is something that resembles a little berm, but it was just an attempt to plant some forest fruits like blueberries, raspberries and all that. But they all died due to lack of irrigation, because there was not enough water around to keep them alive, and from over there is not enough water coming down, because as you can see, this is almost flat. Yes, of course, on a heavy downpour there is some downflow, but it's not enough to really fill up any swale. And so this failed, and we tried to use drip irrigation, but it was too late, and so we forgot about this, because it's not really worth the hassle at the moment. There are bigger fish to fry. But eventually I do like to have such things there, because it's just the edge of a forest and it makes sense to have it. So this is now Zone E, and I think we have done everything we can to retain water by doing some earthworks. And I guess in a second video I will then show you a little bit about the very same topic in our Zone C, which goes all the way to the Altiplano, so to the highest and flat point of our farm. And of course on the flat point there is no point in digging. So I will show you that in the next video. Till then, have a good one.